This is 9.5 Day 1 notes, and in this video we are starting our second rule of factoring. Our first rule was using the greatest common factor rule. This rule we're going to be first reviewing FOIL and seeing how that relates to our factoring problems. So remember, when you use FOIL, you multiply first times first, the outside terms, the inside terms, and then last times last. So using FOIL to do that mentally, we get x squared plus 8x plus 15. Now I want you to notice that the coefficient of the middle term is 8x. The coefficient would be 8. So notice that 8 is the sum of 3 and 5. Okay? Also notice that the constant term, which is 15, is the product of 3 and 5. So, to factor a trinomial of the form, and this form is where the x squared term, the coefficient is 1. Then we have plus bx plus c. C is the constant term, b is the coefficient of the middle term. So in order to factor that form, we have to find two numbers that have a sum of the middle term, add up to be the middle term, and a product of the last term. So they multiply to be the last term. Okay, so reversing the process of FOIL is factoring. Okay, so let's look at these. What we're doing first is we want to look at the last term. And so we're going to determine what the factors are. Now, I do not care if you write them down or not on your classwork, but please write them down right now on the notes, and you can pause the video in order to do that. So these are all the factors of 12. Positive 12, we have positive 1 and 12, negative 1 and negative 12, 2 and 6, negative 2 and negative 6, 3 and 4. Negative 3 and negative 4. So now that we've determined all the factors of 12, we're looking for the pair of factors that add up to be 7. And you are correct when you say that it's 3 and 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. 3 plus 4 is 7. So when we factor, again, remember factoring is, in this case, it's the reverse of FOIL. So we want two binomials. Our first term in each binomial is where we take the x squared term and we're going to divide the exponent by 2. So that will be x and x. So when I use FOIL to check this, first times first, x times x is x squared. Now notice that the 3 is positive and the 4 is positive, because positive 3 times positive 4 is positive 12. Positive 3 plus positive 4 is positive 7. So I get positive 3 and positive 4. Now, there is a handy way to check to see if you got the right answer. I would like for this to be a mental check, but if you feel like you need to check it on paper, that's fine. So first times first, x times x is x squared. Outside is 4x. Inside is 3x. Write that down or not. And last is 4 times 3 is 12. So whenever I check this, I do get the problem that I started out with. So my final answer is x plus 3, x plus 4. Okay, so this mental check is just something that is optional on paper. I would rather you do it in your head. It's very, very good thing to check your answer. Okay, number 2. I'm doing several of these so you can kind of get the process of it. Factors of 10. 1 and 10, negative 1, negative 10, 2 and 5, negative 2 and negative 5. You can see those up there. Pause the video if you need to in order to write those down. And the two that add up to be 7, the factors that add up to be 7 are 2 and 5. So this will be g plus 2, g plus 5. Remember, you take the first term, take the exponent and divide it by 2. It's always going to be divided by 2, no matter what the exponent is, as long as it's even. I guess I should say, you need to divide it by 2. Now, again, do a mental check, use FOIL, and we get g squared plus, we have 5g and 2g, that is 7g, plus 5 times 2 is 10. So it does check. So our answer is g plus 2 times g plus 5. All right, let's go through the next one. Our last term is 30. So we're writing down all the factors of 30. There are several of them. Again, you can pause the video and write those down. We're looking this time for the factors that add up to be negative 13. So that will be negative 3 and negative 10. So this answer, again, make sure you divide the first term's exponent by 2. A and A are the first terms in each parentheses. Minus 3 and minus 10 will be the last term in each parentheses. Use FOIL to check. And you get A squared minus 10A minus 3A, that's minus 13A, and then last times last is positive 30. So it does check. So our final answer on this one, A minus 3, A minus 10. Okay, let's look at a few more examples. Here we have c squared minus 9c plus 20. So we're looking at the factors of the last term, which is 20. Again, pause the video if you need to write those down. And we're looking for which factors add up to be negative 9. That will be negative 4 and negative 5. So we have c in each first place of each parentheses, minus 4 and minus 5. Now, it doesn't matter if you want to write c minus 5, c minus 4, okay? The factors can be interchanged, but the order of the c's need to be first. The order of the factors of 20 need to be last. So it doesn't matter if you have minus 4 in this parenthesis, first parentheses, and minus 5 in the last parentheses, or if you switch it around. Also, remember, make sure you do FOIL to check. Okay, so either one of these answers is fine. All right, number 5. This is supposed to be number 5. Number 5, we're looking for the factors of positive 25. So that would be 1 and 25, negative 1, negative 25, positive 5, negative 5, and negative 5. We're looking for the factors that add up to be negative 10. Okay, so negative 5 and negative 5. All right, so remember how I said the first term, we're going to take its exponent and divide by 2. If it's even, divide it by 2. So that means I have k squared and k squared in my first positions in each parentheses. Then I have minus 5 and minus 5. Okay? Now, these are what we call identical binomials. When you end up with identical binomials, your final answer should be written like this. You write the binomial one time to the second power. Okay, so that's your final answer. Make sure when you have identical binomials, you write them each, write them one time, and then put the parentheses around it and the second power. All right, number 6, the factors of 77. 1 and 77, negative 1, negative 77, 7 and 11, negative 7, and negative 11. Okay, so we're looking for the factors that add up to be negative 18. I mean, negative 7 and negative 11. So we're going to take this exponent and divide it by 2. For the 77, we said that was negative 7 and negative 11. Now notice 77 has another variable. Take that variable's exponent and divide it by 2. And that goes with the factors of 77. So this final answer is h minus 7k, h minus 11k. Again, practice using FOIL to check. Okay. All right, last one, number 7. Factors of 7 are 1 and 7, negative 1 and negative 7. We're looking for the factors that add up to be negative 6. Well, there aren't any. So what that means is this answer is what we call prime. Okay? Now, prime answers. Be very careful with prime answers. There are no prime answers in your book. There are no prime answers on your test. The only time you're going to see prime answers possibly are going to be on the worksheet. So if you write prime on any of the classwork, I'm counting as a skip. If you write prime on a quiz or on the test, I am counting all points off. You get no credit. Okay? So be careful using prime. Just make sure that you look for them on any worksheets that I give you. No quizzes, no tests, no classwork from the book will have prime on it. Okay? All right, this is the end of 9.5 day 1 notes. Now go on to the student questions and the Google form.